Greetings, Guzzlers. Well, we're coming into another heat wave in the UK. So, we want another nice, cooling dish. And something light. Something not too heavy. Something healthy. But something cooling. So, there's not an awful lot of ingredients in this. Biggest one is cucumber. I've got two. The wife ordered one originally, it was about the size of a little gherkin. So let's go and buy some more. But I digress. This is another Korean dish. And this is actually a Korean chilled soup. To be precise, it's a Korean cold cucumber soup. Oi-Naengguk or something like that. Okay? Which basically means it's with cucumber. So, let's get making our chilled soup. Now, before we do anything else, and I've done a little bit of prep, you're going to want 30 grams of seaweed, wakame or miyeok or something, I don't know, never heard that one. Wakame, I've got some of that. And what we want is 30 grams of that, but we want it hydrated. So, I'll put the 30 grams in a bowl. And now all we're going to do, you could use nori if you haven't got this, okay? You know, the sheets that you use for sushi. I'm just going to put that there, and that's going to need to soak for about 15 minutes, which gives us plenty of time to prepare the other ingredients. So, the recipe called for 1 large cucumber. We just felt, sorry, let's go a bit more. So I've got 2, I don't know if you'd actually call that large because it's quite thin. 1/2 to 1 red onion. You're going to want about 1/2 litre of water, preferably chilled. I haven't got any room in the fridge, so it's on the side there, cold water. But what I have got is some ice cubes, which we add anyway, okay? And normally you can prepare this in advance, shove it in the fridge, and when you're going to serve, you shove your ice cubes in. I've got 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, tablespoon of honey. Okay, I think that's just about drained out of there now. I've got 2 teaspoons of salt, and then optionally you can add some chilli. Now I've got like 1 smallish bird's eye chilli chopped there. If you don't want chilli in it, don't put chilli in it. And that is it. That's all that's in this soup. Dead simple. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a red onion, and we're just going to thinly slice that. Okay. Now, the term Naengguk or whatever refers to, basically, it's a Korean word meaning, well actually it's 2 words, but anyway, it essentially means cold soup. And like I say, it's 1 word, but it's actually made up from 2 words. Get rid of the root bit. Guk in Korean is soup. It can be called changguk, which literally means cold soup. Whereas Naengguk is not necessarily pure Korean. The first part is a Hanja word meaning cold, and a pure Korean word, guk, for soup. Anyway, I might move that over there a bit. So we just chuck that onion in there, and I think we will do that other half. I've got this, I think her name is Joy Choi. And some of her measurements didn't seem to match what she was doing. She said use 1/4 of a red onion, but she definitely had more than 1/4 there. So that's my onion. Put that in a bowl. Is perhaps a bit excessive, but it doesn't really matter, does it? So the next thing we want to prepare is our cucumber, and for that you'll want a good old humble veg pea. Now I've already topped and tailed my cucumbers, and I've just cut them in half, because what we want to do now is just basically, perhaps I won't use that very first one, we just want to take slices of our cucumber because we want to julienne it. Okay, so I'm just going to go along making these thin slices. I'm piling them up just because it'll be a bit easier in a minute when we come to julienne them. Now these Korean soups have been around quite a long time. Okay, these chilled soups. First historical record of Heatwave, although he didn't strictly speaking call it that, was in a poem written by, I'm not going to pronounce that name, who lived about 1168 to 1241, and he described the soup, and essentially said that it made unusual dishes vulgar. This was so plain and simple, it made other dishes vulgar. But there you go. So I'm essentially just going to carry on doing that with all this cucumber, and then when you've got a little stack there, what you want to do is just cut it into thin strips, but like on the diagonal there. Be careful because it is sliding about a bit. And then when you've done that, that goes in that bowl. Okay, so I'm just going to get the rest of this cucumber done and in there. And then the only other thing obviously is that seaweed, which is busy hydrating at the moment. So there's my cucumber in there. So now it's time to address the wakame. Now that wants chopping up. Oh, excuse me, can't blame the beer because you haven't had any beer today. It's rather nice Chardonnay, not had before, from the co-op. What I'm going to do is strain that off, give it a good rinse, and then we're going to squeeze it as dry as possible before we can chop it up and add it there. And the sink is out of shot, so you can imagine. Go and have a drink. So that's all rinsed and squeezed out. It's an odd scent. It's almost like a soapy sensation. But even though this is wakame or wakame in strips, we just want to cut this up a bit finer. Okay. So I'm just going through slightly over for her. Now there's two sort of categories of this cold soup, and we're sort of in the main first category, which is where it's flavoured with different things. So you get the ones with flavoured with cucumber like we've done. You can have a version with, I mean, it's like really slippery. I'll put that there and chuck that in there. You can have it with garlic. I'm just trying to think what else you have it with. Garlic. Whatever. But generally, whatever the flavouring is, it's mixed with sugar and vinegar to give a slightly sort of tangy but sweet, like a sweet and sour taste. And the other category is one more for like health soups. So it might be supplemented with like chicken, cooked chicken, sesame, or soybeans, because they bring other benefits. But anyway, I'm just going to have a quick clean up. We've finished all our chopping and prep, and then we can start preparing that. I think I'm going to double my quantity of water because I've got a lot of veg in there. So in goes that vinegar. I'm wondering whether I might need to double the quantities of all this stuff, to be honest. Soy sauce, because there seems to be a lot more veg there than she had. Like I say, the quantity she was giving in the recipe didn't seem to reflect in what she was actually doing. Sometimes she seemed to be, I mean, like she said, put something like 3 whole tablespoons of salt in, and it's like, do you realise how much salt that is? And then I thought, does she mean half a tablespoon? This is what I've done. And then she'd say like a quarter of a red onion, and you think that's definitely more than a quarter of a red onion. The honey's going to be a little bit of a bugger to get in there. There's my little spatula. I couldn't find it the other day. And then it miraculously appeared. And it's disappeared again, isn't it? Typically, when you want the little bastard, you can't find it. Although, having said that, it's so warm in here. Now, she used allulose, which is like a sugar substitute. I don't think you can get it in this country, in the UK. I don't think it's approved for food use. So, you can use sugar or salt instead. And then you're going to want to add in your water. And like I say, I think in this case, I'm going to add a whole litre. And the reason I've got my glove on is because obviously now I just want to mix all this together. Separate those different veg, make sure it gets all mixed in, make sure that honey, soy sauce, everything else is mixed together. And apart from that chilli to go in there, and the ice cubes to chill it right down, like I say, the idea is you add your ice cubes when you're about to serve. This could be prepared, can now go in the fridge. It lasts apparently for about 3 days. Not quite sure how you can eat this thing. It'll be slipping off a spoon and all that. But I thought that went in my eye then. Forgot I've got glasses on. So I think that's just about there. Let's get our dishes ready. In goes my chilli, and where did I put that ice? Oh, up there. Ooh, that's gonna. You little shite, come here. Don't try to escape. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Right, so I put some ice in the fridge. In that goes. And now just get me ladles, move my glass out of the way, and let's just stir that through. Manage to get them chilies distributed a little bit, but also that ice cube. She had nice clear ice. That's an art in itself, producing clear ice. It's all to do with the way the ice freezes. But that's another story altogether. So, I'm going to get some of the mixture in there, and then obviously we want some of the liquid. So, I'm just going to dish these up, and then we can taste it. So, there you go. A couple of ice cubes there, if you can see them. So let's just try the sauce bit. Not really getting the sourness. There's a hint of that. You're getting the saltiness. Now that's probably a combination of the salt we put in and the soy sauce. The honey isn't really making it too sweet. To be honest, if you like your chilli, I'd add more chilli. I was trying not to overpower it, and I think I succeeded. You get the crispness of the onion. There is that hint of sourness. I think actually, in hindsight, how come he being all posh? Obviously, I haven't enough to bloody drink yet, have I? But I think in hindsight, it's exactly the right combo without becoming too sour. Well, there you go. A cold soup, no cooking involved. I've had my off clean. Look at me making a mess. So there you go. Your Korean cold cucumber soup, Oi-Naengguk. Or words to that effect. Better go and feed the wife.